Hello, good day. This is Storage Hamster, and I am on my Blade Dancer, Andrella X10, and this is going to be a quick kind of tour slash guide and tips for Ivory Tower Catacombs 3 that just came out. I finally got my foot in the door here, and boy, some of these mobs hit heavy. Now to start it off, we're going to start with the first room. This is where you're going to find the Dark Choir Soul Prima. Level 162 mobs, a very good place to start if you just want to kind of slowly make your way up the levels and farm Medina and whatnot. Okay, they don't hit as hard as the other mobs in here. They're pretty manageable, and well, they don't pull as bad. So that means you're gonna have like 10 or 8 on you at the same time, so you can kind of farm safely to an extent. After that, you're going to have your Dark Choir, Dark Primas here, a little stronger than the 162s, but not too much of a gap. You're going to do like about 1,000 or so less damage, if at all, compared to the 162s. Then you're going to have your level 168s, the Dark Troopers, and the Skeleton Troopers, and Skull Chasers. Now, they're going to be in these rooms here, the little circle one here, and also this one here. If you can see my mouse, where that little red dot is also blinking. Now, if you look at this layout, it's exactly the same as Ivory Tower Catacomb 1. Right? The only difference is that you're spawning over here on the kind of top portion instead of over here in the bottom right portion. Okay? And also, the initial mobs in Ivory Tower 1, the weakest mobs, have been replaced by the strongest mobs in this dungeon. I do not suggest going in here. I'll cover that later. Now, after the 162s, you're going to have level 164 mobs, the Dark Generals. These drop Evil of Blood, and so do the Skeletons. And they hit for a pretty good amount, but they're still manageable. Now, a couple things here I want to cover is that the Skeleton Troopers here, they crit a lot. They crit freaking often. Their damage ranges from about 1.2k to me to about 4,000 damage, and you're going to see 4,000 often enough. Now, as I stated in my previous video, I'd highly suggest at least around freaking high 50k plus 55k plus P defense, and then a copious amounts of, here you have it, HP drain on your weapon and your accessories. Reason being is that without those, you're going to need a healer, and you're going to need a healer bad, and or you're going to need a full freaking team. Because you want that damage dissipated through other people. If you don't, then you're going to take a lot, and you're going to die. Like, potions alone are not going to save you against some of these mobs. I guarantee it. Other than that, another alternative to the PvP, armor being kind of enchanted to a good extent would be a Blue Wolf set, or a Versus Elite set. For you players out there who are kind of F2P and want to survive this new dungeon, it'll decrease damage by quite a lot. So let's go around and do damage checks on the mobs. Now, as I mentioned the last video, Ivory Tower 2, my weapon here, as you can see, it is comparable to a maxed PvP weapon. So that's level 40 plus 28 or higher PvP weapon. Okay, with 40,000, 43,000 plus weapon damage. Now let's scurry our way over there to the first mobs in the room, and here we have level 162s. Not too bad, just the same as the 162s you just saw in Ivory Catacomb 2. Now, first hit, about 24,000 there. There's a 24,000, mid 24s. There's another 23.8. So high 23s to mid 24s is kind of the range for my dual swords here. Ooh, Darkened Dot. And that's going to be that first room of 162s. Now you have a safe area here where you can run kind of like, pot up or whatever, or kind of AFK a little bit. Then you have the 168s. So these rooms here are going to be comparable to the level 140 Scorpion rooms in Ivory Catacomb 1. Okay, they pull just about the same, alright, for these big square rooms, right? The ones you see here, these very, very big ones. Alright. And then here we're going to do some damage checks. Now I do have a BD buff of speed here, but it doesn't, it didn't up my attack at all. There's a 23.1, I think. There's a 23.1 again. And 22.9. So my damage did tank a little bit under 1,000 less damage, around there. And these are the Dark Primas. Now if you want to pull this efficiently as a solo player that is pretty geared up, I highly suggest splitting the room into 4 pieces, or 4 halves. So you're going to go straight through here. And then over here also. And you're going to pull 1/4 of the room at a time, like this. Take a look at the damage here. I'm taking about mid 1,000s, about 1,200 to 1,500, 1,600. and that is with that almost 60,000 P defense that I have. My HP drain is kind of keeping up right here, and that was like about an 8 mob pull. So that's kind of like, you know, just for you to gauge, hey, you can still survive these 168 mobs. It's still okay. It's still good to go. Right? So as you see, HP drains there. Again, the more damage you do with your weapon, the more HP drain you're gonna get. So you know, if you can, try to enhance your weapons to to a fair amount. Get them up there high, limit break, whatever. Prepare yourselves for these dungeons. Because right now I'm not doing as much damage as I wish I did. Survivability just tanks with less damage less damage done. Now moving on, we're going to go to the 168 skeleton room. Alright, the troopers or skull scratchers, they're basically the same mobs. They're gonna do the same damage, and they're all melee, so they're gonna follow you. Okay, it doesn't really matter. The name is just there. They're the same mob. And again, this is exactly just like Ivory Tower 1, so the mobs are kind of pretty much pull the same. Okay, so if you had a good spot in Ivory 1, you're pretty much guaranteed a good spot here in Ivory 2 also. Now for these skeleton troopers, they are Evil of Blood, so you can start farming your Evil Bloods here for Red Star Stones and Proof of Bloods. And also, let's do a damage check. So first one, 22.7 to 23. So 22.8. There's some mid 22, so I'm doing pretty much the same damage on these as the other 168 mobs. Now, the only big difference here is that these will do more damage to you than the other ones in that previous room. So take a look at the damage I'm taking, about 1.2 to 4,300. There's another couple 4,000s there. So these mobs, you kind of want to be careful because they will spike you. As you can see my HP bar here, it can drop like 10,000 in a heartbeat. Okay, you just never know when these mobs will crit you for 4,000 right there. It looks 8,000 damage in a split second. So it's a pretty sizable gap. Like you can take the normal damage, or hey, here's a crit to your face, right? So be very, very wary about AFKing or fighting these mobs, because again, that damage threshold is a lot. Like it can go, the damage range is a lot. And that's pretty much it for the skeleton troopers. Next up is the dark generals. These are level 174 mobs, 670,000 HP. For here, it's basically like the level 140 scorpion room in Ivory 1. You can split this room into half and pull one side at a time if you're highly geared and whatnot, and kind of kill them all at once. Now these do set, the damage that these do is pretty much set. Like, it doesn't really range from blank to blank. It's just like, hey, it's within a couple hundred. Now I'm gonna hit these guys, show you how much damage you do. There's a 21.9 there. There's a 22.1. There's a 21.6. So about like like high to 21,000 damage. And again, the weapon is comparable to a maxed out PvP weapon here, due to the attribute and due to it being a versus elite. Now I'm gonna kill this mob of about, let's say, 8 to 9 of these dark generals here, and we'll see how much my HP drain kind of gets me. So here we go. So this is without buffs, right? No buffs, no BD dance. It's just straight out HP drain. As you see, I'm kind of... Oh, there's a buff now then. So I'm kind of keeping it up, and the damage here is about 1.4, 1.7, kind of like hovering around 1.7. All right, sometimes lower damage. You never know. So these are still survivable, pretty manageable. Just be very careful about what you pull and how many you pull, and what you set your distance to. I suggest if you cannot handle more than 3 or 4 of these at a time, set that baby to melee. Okay. So for this room, if you can see the minimap here, split it straight down the middle like this, and then pull half the room one time, then run around, pull the other half. If you're here early, if no one else is taking these mobs, that's what you can do for a little bit more experience and some pretty decent pulls. Now, moving on, you have a safe spot here. Okay, basically the walkways between rooms, and this big room here is again the same as the level 140 scorpions in Ivory Tower 1. You can split this baby into 4, so just draw a big X through the whole room, and you can pull this side, then move on to this side, right? Then move on to this side, and whatever, counterclockwise, clockwise, or you just take half the room. Same freaking thing. Now here in this room, you're gonna see Cretus. He's one of the mini bosses in the dungeon. And I mean, it's whatever. If you want to kill him, kill him. He's got about 1.7 milli HP, and he hits for about 3,000 damage. About yeah, 3,000 to mid 3,000 damage. It's not really a lot. But again, I've got 60 KP defense, so that's higher than average player currently. And the same thing, Dark Generals throughout the whole room. Not really much changed. You do have a lot of these dots. They're easy to pull, so these rooms are really nice farming rooms. You know, if you're doing hot time for your gillies and you're just basically like a trash compactor or a shredder for your guild, you know, really high damage weapon. Just have people run around you, get experience and stuff. Now moving on from the 174s, I'm going to go to the other 168s, the Skeleton Trooper. Now in this circular room here to the south is where you're going to find both mini bosses for this core. Or not core, but Semi-Skeleton Trooper, and you're also going to find Skull Chaser here. Okay, so these are the troopers. They're pretty much the same as the other 168s we just saw. And then we have Skull Chaser somewhere down here. There he is. Oh, sorry, getting a little tired. It's getting later in the night. Boom. 4. Ooh. Claim that. Yeah, buddy. Reward. So, I mean, easy part of the dungeon here. Anything below 174 is pretty much a walk in the park for us, you know, for you hired CP people. But everyone else, kind of make your teams and spread that damage. You don't want to take damage from 2 or 3 or 4 of these mobs. Now the big shebang, right? The hardest room in this dungeon, it's going to contain these Cave Saharas. Now, I did my little test earlier, and I'm barely doing damage. So let's say, take a guess right now how much damage I'm going to do to these guys, and just compare it after I start whacking it. So the 174s I was doing like what, like high 2,000, 21,000s on the 174s, and these are only like, let's say, yeah, a couple levels higher, right? About 8 levels higher. So here I'm going to whack them, but you know, just hopefully you guessed right. So there's about 17,000 damage there. There's about mid 17,000 damage there, and 17.5. So as you can see, my damage kind of dropped astronomically. It dropped by about 4,000 damage, and that's freaking like 8 level whatever difference. Okay, that's a shit ton of just difference, and it sucks. Now I'm not gonna dare fight more than 5 of these at a time without soul shots or, you know, getting ready for it, because these things hurt. Look at the damage they're doing right now. About 2.2 to about 4,000 damage. Okay, I'm not able to out heal these guys with my HP drain due to the fact that, you know, I'm not doing as much damage as I usually do. So at max, I would probably pull 5 or 6 of these personally myself with my stats that I have. Be very, very, very wary about going to this room. They will hurt. Let's say, alright, let's do a test. I'm going to try to pull as many of these as I can. Oh, excuse me, hiccups. Or burps. Alright, so let's say I pulled like 8 of these, right? And you've watched my previous videos. I am just an HP drain machine to an extent. It just, you know, drain, stay alive, whatever. Here, I'm going to just, let's see, that's about 8, right? 8 to 9. And I'm going to wait for BD buffs to simulate, hey, this is a freaking Blade Dancer with, you know, a really good PvE weapon and fighting Saharas. Oh, shoot. 2, 1. Alright, here we go. We're going to do 2 dances and see where that HP goes. As you can see, immediately my HP dropped about 20,000 damage off that first hit. It's very hard to out heal these guys. It's just like a freaking tug of war. Their damage and your HP drain. Now this is a very lucky example, but earlier examples, like earlier tests, my HP dropped like 30,000. It was kind of hovering around there. And this is with BD buffs. If I didn't have BD buffs, then yeah, my HP would have dropped to 30,000. We'll kind of do that right now, actually. So I'm going to pull as many of these as I possibly can without BD buffs, so it's about 6 seconds away from expiring. And then we'll go and see how fucked I get due to the damage these guys do. Alright, so here we go. So without Blade Dancer buffs, like, I am having a hard time HP draining back. Like, I'm pretty much gonna need a potion at this point. Like, the damage is phenomenal. This is only like, as you can see, it looks like about 9 mobs here. Holy crap. And my HP day is no joke either. I'm getting like 7,000s on some of these ticks and more. So it's kind of, you know, a gauge as to how much these things hit and like how painful they are. Now without buffs, no clan buffs or anything, I think I can handle about 5 or 6 of these max. Other than that, I'm not even gonna bother. Be very mindful. I'm probably gonna set to melee or close in this room, just because of that just overwhelming mob damage that I don't want to deal with. And they do have like little higher HP than 174s, but it's just the damage difference. It's what kills you, man. It's like almost freaking. It's more than triple. Oh, sorry, more than double the damage that 174 mobs give. And these are the highest level mobs in this dungeon. So yeah. Even one-on-one, I'm barely like draining back, as you can see here. Like with B debuffs, I can kind of drain back all my HP, but one-on-one, it's just I'm losing HP, and these are, you know, kind of not stats to scoff about. So that's basically it for Ivory Tower 3. Just gonna give you a heads up warning on the mobs you'll face. And as you can see here, hey, from level 162 mobs, you cross this threshold into certain death, because it's kind of like if you're not prepared for it, it's like, oh, 162 mobs, that means the next room might be like 168. Hell no, don't do that. Just make sure you watch the rooms, you know, whatever you walk into, because you don't want to go from here into the middle of here, smack dab in the middle, and just get like, you know, sent to Nappy Land in a couple seconds because those mobs drained all 50,000, 60,000 of your HP in like 3 seconds. Okay, so other than that, hopefully you enjoyed this quick video, like little walkthrough guide on the Ivory Tower Catacomb 3. And other than that, have a wonderful day.